Parts we need for the construction. Okay, have transparent PVC tubing, both 3/4 inch diameter and 1 1/4 inch diameter. Comes in 10-foot long stretches, and you cut it as needed. We have couplings, 1 1/4 inch couplings, to enable you to connect two pieces of 1 1/4 inch together. We have T's, 1 1/4 inch T's. We have caps, both 1 1/4 inch, and somewhere, yes, we also have 3/4 inch caps. We have 3/4 inch, I don't know, they're male connectors for garden hoses. They're 3/4 inch in size. And then we've also got hoses that can be screwed in like so. And we have reducing bushings. These things that go inside. No, they don't go inside here. They'll go inside, for example, a T or a coupler made for 1 1/4 inch pipe and accept 3/4 inch. It's 1 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch reducing. All right. Well, we're going to start with this. Well, the diagram is number 3. The 2-foot length, 3/4 inch pipe, and we want to bend it. We want to heat it. 3/4 inch clear PVC, 2 feet long, and I'm going to cap it and fill it with. I think I'm just going to put a bunch of flour in here. Just to have something to fill it with, so that when you heat it, it'll keep its shape. That's the idea.
You have to pack it in?
Well, I don't know. I've never done this.
What exactly are we doing?
Bending it. The idea is to put a 90-degree bend in this this piece of PVC. So I want something in it to keep it from collapsing when I heat it. 3/4 inch piping filled with flour and capped on either end. The caps are not on the diagram because we don't use 3/4 inch caps in the actual apparatus. But I'm now going to take this and go stick it in the oven, which I've preheated to 250 degrees. While we're waiting for the PVC to heat up and soften, this is something else that's not on the diagram, but I need a supply source of. I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom of this bucket. And it's PVC, so we should be having any problems just gluing PVC to PVC. Put the pipe right there. We'll put a little valve there and a screw fitting, so we're going to hook up a hose to it. And we'll be able to fill the bucket with water and thus supply. So let's just go ahead and just put this little starter hole in the thing. Right there. It doesn't have to be. It'd be simpler just have a 3/4 inch or probably a little bit larger, I don't know, whatever size this is, drill bit, but I don't have a drill bit that big. I actually have larger ones, but not one exactly right size. And it'd be nice if it didn't leak, but that's not absolutely critical. And there we go.
Would this make it then a...
Cut off a short length of this piping. But before I do that, I'll try to check up on what's cooking.
Okay.
Softened length of PVC.
There, it's softened.
You should just be able to
bend it.
So I'm just use the edge of the table as a rough guide. And again, it's like a 90-degree bend. And
Wow, look at that.
we just get it to stay that way. And,
Wow, is it trying to come back?
Yeah, but let's see how hot is it actually.
That'd be hot.
I think we just want to leave it like that for a little bit, let it cool. It didn't take long. It was only in the oven about, what, 5 minutes or so?
Wow, yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long. And we'll just let it cool in that shape, and then when it's done we can dump the flour out, and we should have a nice piece of PVC with a 90-degree bend in it. Nice gradual 90-degree bend. Okay. Now, back to the bucket. We need a short length of piping to come out of the bucket, and then from there we want to go to a valve, and then from the valve we want to go to a screw fitting for a hose. So I'm just going to go over and get a saw and just cut off 2 short little. Okay, so we got this. Now what do we want? We want one of these going into the bucket, valve, fitting this whole assembly.
Voila!
Glue that like that, and that's how we'll be able to supply water to the system for testing purposes. I think I might just put it right up against the. I might have a mechanical strength problem with turning that thing. I tend to break it loose a bit, but we'll see. We'll just glue it in, and we'll see what happens in terms of the mechanics. I'm going to start by gluing this together. We have
What type of glue are you using?
transparent PVC glue.
Okay.
It's primer and cement. The primer softens the PVC, and then the cement actually let's prime this guy. Probably a little too much primer. You're not supposed to put the primer on past where you want it to soften, obviously. But I'm no expert. Never.
Can you feel it softening?
Well, that's what it says. It says I have an indication for how long you're supposed to. It says to check penetration of scratch surface. Doesn't say how long. We'll let it sit. Just leave it for a few minutes, and then cement. And this part of this one here. Okay. And now this one here. And now this thing. Okay.
Ta-da!
Wipe off the excess. Visible. Okay.
Okay, now can you give us a description of what phase we just went through?
All right. Basically, just a preparatory phase. I still want to.
Do you want to draw anything up on the whiteboard for us?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's really. I mean, this isn't. I haven't really begun construction of the RAM proper. All I'm going to do now, I think, is I'm just going to glue this thing in. Make that down. It's just.
Okay, see how that's now flush.
And then allow me to just glue the whole thing. I'm going to come down further. Just be able to glue the whole assembly there down. Take that long. Meanwhile, this thing is pretty firm when you get right down to it.
Is it 90 degrees, you think? It's close.
I think it's right around there.
Yeah. Oh, let me step backwards, I suppose. There you go, looks good.
So I'm going to open it up and dump the flour out.
Okay.
And that was quite easy. I just dumped the flour out and ran some water through it to rinse out the insides. Now we've got a nice 90-degree piece of PVC. Okay, approaching the more difficult phase. Look at the
There it is. And you see in that diagram the right angle piece.
right, and the bucket isn't here. The bucket is here, you know, feeding into this point here.
Right.
So let's just piece together the easy part of all this here. One of these on. That is a way to screw the supply hose. Then a reducing coupling, a reducing bushing, I think they're called.
Let me see that reducing bushing. Okay.
It's a 1 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch reducing bushing. So
Okay.
this is 1/4 inch. It goes in here like that, and
Right.
then you can put 3/4 inch pipe in like that.
Gotcha.
So
What do you
this is how
epoxy? But you use that.
yeah, I'm going to glue this together, but this will, the supply will come in here, and then another reducing bushing here, our
Gotcha.
curved piece here, another T, where's the other T? T, where did your T go? The other T, again, a reducing bushing on the bottom of the T. This is now looking
Step back,
very
please.
much like the diagram.
That's good.
Then this for coming up off the thing, and we're going to cap it. Cap.
Must it be capped?
Yeah, this thing is going to be,
Air pressure? Or?
yeah, there's going to be air in here. There's going to be an air and water mix in this part. This is basically a, as I understand it, it's basically a dampening system. It just dampens the oscillations. So it's going to be air and water in here. And then the actual delivery mechanism is going to be here. So what we're going to end up there is, again, another reducing bushing
Right.
here. Another short length of 3/4 inch here.
Mm-hmm.
And another one of these things. And that's
Right.
the output.
All right.
So that's the basic ram assembly right there.
Mm-hmm.
And now comes the hard part.
Now, how does that connect to the bucket?
The bucket will connect here.
And the one by your other hand, that's where the water's going to pump
That's
out?
the output, right.
Okay.
And the idea is that at the end of the day, this thing will be able to supply water to a higher height. Camera, you see now what the diagram looks like. Input, output, and then there'll be a waste water outlet here. It will, water will flow out with this thing here.
Okay.
So we have two valves to construct, and that's of course I'm on step 3 now of the Peace Corps instructions. Cut the 1 1/4 inch coupling into 2 cylindrical pieces just to one side of the land. Cut off the bottom of one of the reducing bushings and sand it smooth to form a 3/8 inch thick PVC washer. So we have a reducing bushing.
A reducing bushing. Let me see that.
This thing here.
Hold on. It's plastic, poly.
Not a reducing bushing.
Right.
And the coupling. I'm going to have this. We put this in here. We put the rubber in here. I'm going to then put, I'm going to have this thing cut off here. I'm going to take a length of the 1 1/4 inch pipe. I'm going to put it in there. And that is going to form the valve. I'm going to have pipe, rubber, what's left of this coupling, and then and that's going to be a short length there that is then going to go into one of these T's, and then I'll have to make an adjustment for the motion of the thing. And there's 2 alternate adjustment mechanisms shown in the diagram. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to cut it just to one side of the land, as they call it, the part in the middle. And then I'm going to take most of this bushing off and just end up, the part I'm interested in here is the part from here to here. So I'm going to go just do that with the saw. hacksaw, I believe this is called.
Mm-hmm. That is a hacksaw.
And a vise. I'm using a vise.
Okay.
So hacksaw and a vise is what I'm using to actually make the cuts. But this is what we've got. We have the what was once the coupling, now cut just to one side of the land in the middle. And this is the part without the land is what we're interested in. And then here is the one-time, looks like a little bit of a crooked cut, but one time. We'll see if the tolerances are precise. As you can see, it's a little bit at an angle. The one-time reducing bushing. And we have what they describe as a PVC washer here, which is this thing. And what we are going to do is we're going to put the PVC washer inside the yeah, both are having problems going in the cut side. Let's see if they will go in the uncut side. Yeah, there's any problems going in the uncut side. Maybe deliberately tighter on the uncut side, designed to tighten as you go in, which is possibly why I'm having problems with it on the uncut side. So.
Why is that again?
Well, I mean, this is, a coupling here.
Right.
As you put the pipe in, you want it to tighten as it goes in. So maybe just a little bit tighter here
Gotcha.
than it is here, and that's why I'm having trouble getting it in. This
It's not a perfect cylinder.
Exactly. And I think what I might do is just exercise a little bit of persuasion with a. There we go.
Hey.
It definitely needs a bit of persuasion. May not need any glue at all. Okay, and actually I put that in backwards. I got the flat side, the uncut. Unless you're going to make a real precision cut, you want the flat side to be against the valve. The valve is going to be between. The rubber piece is going to come in the middle here. I haven't got the rubber piece cut yet. You put the rubber. Next room. Trace the outline of this part here.
Does that have to be perfect?
It's a good question. It's going to go in here and against there. So, got plenty of this stuff. As long as I don't glue it shut. Till I glue it shut, I can make another one. I'm not cut too much off that.
Did you get these plastic parts mail order?
This thing I just got at Home Depot.
But how about the clear
Yeah,
plastic?
I had to go fast. I went to a distributor, but they had to order it. Okay, so there. Now I'm gonna cut a hole in there, obviously, let the water flow. But this is what we're gonna end up with. That's the.
There you go.
Go between the two circles. I really want to test this out before I seal it shut. I didn't cut through it.
So it's like a tongue.
Yeah. Okay. So, this in here. Now, let me see. Again, we're going to have something here to, some kind of a screw here to hold this open, and the force of the water will just push it closed.
Okay.
And hopefully you'll get this kind of an effect. This is what you want to adjust it.
Go ahead.
Force of the water is pushing this valve closed, and then it's a kind of a spring force that pushes it back open. And that's what this thing is designed to do.
Get it in the light, please. And let's see that flat.
That's the design.
The flat back. There.
Again, we need to have some kind of a screw here, something to hold this open and force the water. It's just forced it closed. We just get a flapping action there. That's
Basically what?
the impulse valve minus the stroke adjustment. We still have to do a stroke adjustment. That's going to go in here.
Okay.
And then this will attach back to this part here. And now we want to look at this part of it, which is the something very similar here we're going to do with a again, let's take a look at the instructions for the Peace Corps, see what they have to say about that. What they're saying here is to do this, actually cut a 1/4 inch off the bottom one of these T's here. I don't like the idea of cutting this T. I think I have to cut too much off of this T anyway. So what I want to do instead is just take a piece of the tubing. I mean, this is different from the other valve. The other valve, whoever it got to, is where is the other one? They're not the same. See, this one there's nothing above it, so we got to have this this fat washer in there. But this one, it's got the whole rest of the T up against it, so all we need is, I think, just a little bit of piping to shove in there, and then that will provide this one. And then when we put the see, the reducing bushing won't go all the way in, but we have a length of piping there, and then there should be enough of a gap there to put the rubber and cut off. So if the reducing bushing goes up against it, good, it does. And then I'm going to put a piece of rubber in there.
Where?
In between those two.
Okay.
Got that
Flat.
thing. Right. So once again, we do the same deal with cutting out. Okay. So that, and then this is right behind it. So now, I want to cut the old flap in this one. I'm moving it to be larger than the inner circle. I feel like I'm getting a little close to it right there, actually. But again, I can always cut another one if I have to. Let's see. Let's try that and see what we got. Now, force of water should be able to push it open and let water through. What we want to do is put a screw nut, hang a weight off of it so the force of gravity holds it shut. And only when the pressure here is high enough will it open. Well, the real question I'm wondering right now is, has this bucket had enough time to dry? I think I really would like to let it sit for a little while longer.
Right.
The cameraman missed this operation. We put the so I finally attached this thing. Then what we got here is we got the little valve, and I cut some more of the PVC, the sheet plastic PVC, out to make sure it was pretty much free to move here. Still might be hung up a little bit there. I'll take a little more off at that point, and then put a screw through it. I don't even think the bolt is necessary. It's in there pretty good, and it's there to provide gravity, there to hold this thing shut. I mean, you know, we'll see. It goes in here like so, and then this reducing bushing goes on there, and then what should happen is the water underneath here, if its pressure is higher than what's up here, it'll push the valve open, and the water will come through, and
Can you do that again?
it'll push.
Hold on, turn it to the side a little. No, other way. There you go. Hold on,
It'll
let me
push
get
the
that
valve
one.
open and let the water through. Otherwise, the forced water will push the valve shut.
Okay.
And now I think I want to, before I glue everything, I want to test that to
Sure.
make sure that actually.
So we're going to get some water rolling here?
Okay. Well, this is the supply valve assembly. This is the one with the little ring of 1 1/4 inch inside the T. The second one we made, this little flapper that goes in there, and then I haven't glued anything, but just temporarily I just put a 3/4 inch hose fitting on a short length of 3/4 inch PVC and the reducing bushing, and then capped this side of the T, and I just have an open tube here. Now what should happen here is we should be able to connect the bucket to this, and when I lift the bucket, the height of the water of the bucket is higher than the water of the tube. It should flow into the tube. But then if I lower the bucket, it should trap the water of the tube. Whenever I lift the bucket higher than what's in the tube, the pressure should open the valve and cause water to come into the tube to equalize it.
Okay.
But whenever I lower the bucket, it should keep the water in the tube. It should trap the water in the tube.
Gotcha.
And that's what I need you for, just to hold this thing while I connect the bucket to it.
Okay, and we only have half of the mechanism here. You don't have that L-shaped piece.
That's right. We got half the mechanism, and this is temporary. I mean, this is actually going to go down on that whole 90-degree.
There we go.
All right. So now we're back, hooking the hose up to the bottom valve here. Okay. Now open this valve here. Okay.
It's rolling, John.
It's rolling now.
Oh yeah.
As we raise.
Here we go. Oh man, this is exciting.
This up.
Gravity, there it goes. Look at that.
Stop. Just hold it still.
Hold it still. Oh man, this is exciting.
Now
ladies and
lower
gentlemen.
the bucket.
Lowers the bucket.
Is it holding? It's
Coming down.
Yes, you can see it. It's closed. But
It's stabilized right now. It's going down a
It's
little.
leaking. You can see right here. Zoom in right here, Bruce. I mean, this is the valve right here. This is what's supposed to close here.
Yeah, I see it. I see it flushing down.
I think here. Where is it leaking? I wonder. Let's put some more water in it. Let's lift this up.
This definitely works. It's pretty cool.
That part of it works. Let's see. I got
And
it.
it's holding.
I got it. Is it?
I mean, the rate of it going down is a heck of a lot slower than the rate of it. There you go. That's a good test.
Is it in fact? Is it good enough? That's the question. Clearly, it's leaking. You're leaking a little bit here.
But the leak rate
This
is much,
the
much
part.
lower. It's not flooding through.
Well,
It's not flooding through. You know what I mean?
let's leave it, and we'll come back. It's not perfect, but it's clearly doing basically what it's supposed to do, which is trapping the water.
Right.
When the pressure down here is higher than the pressure here,
Right.
obviously the water flows in. That's the whole
Right.
point. Okay, so this valve is leaking, but more or less working. So let's just dump the water out of it. And now,
We're not, go.
okay, same thing again. I'm just gonna temporarily cap. This is the other valve now, the impulse valve. This is the one that's supposed to oscillate. And water will come out of here. That's what it's designed to do that.
Will come out.
Oh yeah. Well, if it doesn't, there's a problem.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because that's going up to the L.
Oh, take up the whole thing here. So this,
That needs to go back, right?
take this. Yeah, that's the other part. I'm just leaving it there. This hooks up to here, and now pick up the bucket. I can probably just set the bucket up.
Bring it, leave it. I'll hold it.
Okay.
There you go. Whoa, it's working now.
Sort of working. Try to close the valve, please. Okay. This goes. I think it might just. The force of it might just come off my hand. Okay, open the valve again, please. Wow. I can feel the pressure, Bruce. This is going to work. I know right now it's going to work.
All right.
Turn off the camera and feel this thing. Try to close it. Alright, now this is the hole, not glued, but put together. You're going to have to hold it.
Can you stand to the right, please? The light is I mean, you're to your left, right?
My left, okay. That's it, the whole thing put together, and I have to hold it, it's not glued. What we should do is should supply the water here. The impulse valve, as per the generates the pressure waves, and it should trap the pressure in here. Now we don't have the sniffer built yet that lets the air into the system, and I really don't know how critical. I mean, I think it's critical, but I don't know how critical. And then this is where the high pressure water. And since I needed the cameraman's hands to help hold it all together, since it wasn't glued, we didn't get the test on film.
But what happened in the test?
What happened in the test was I didn't like. I had a lot. I couldn't really get the impulse valve working. I couldn't just get it to oscillate. So I'm going to try just to modify the design a little bit here. I got a spring. Designed it and called for a spring, but a fairly light spring. And what I'm going to try here is to replace this valve with a just another piece of rubber, but not with anything cut in it, just attached to the base of the spring. And then just the force of the water should push it closed, and then the spring should push it back open. And if it's adjusted correctly, hopefully we'll get the desired oscillation effect from the spring. So we'll try it with a spring as opposed to just a flat.
Try that one. Didn't feel too bad.
No, it doesn't. Does it go through?
I think it does.
It does. Okay, so now we have to figure how will PVC cement adequately attach. Epoxy actually, I think, might work better than PVC cement. So I'm going to try epoxy. I'm going to try to epoxy this. And it comes in two components. And they're both liquid until you mix them, and then it starts a chemical reaction. What did I do with that nail? There we go. Mix them, it starts a chemical reaction between them, and then...
Man, it's real strong.
Then, yeah, when it...
What is that, a safety procedure?
What?
To keep them in two separate...
No, otherwise it would just turn solid.
Okay.
And this would have... See how long it takes. Mix well. Sets in 5 to 10 minutes. Hardens in 4 to 6 hours. Well, we're not going to wait 4 to 6 hours for it. What we are going to do is smear it in the center of this thing. Same stuff I use to seal the holes in the leaky bucket.
Right.
Alright. Now, there's more on the nail than on the spring here. So that is that, and we'll just leave that for about 10 minutes. And